Good morning guys. So welcome to the next tutorial in the Jmeter series, and today we'll be learning how Jmeter can record scripts which can be useful to you. For example, you can know the APIs which are going to be hit whether your application or your mobile application is working. So in this topic we'll be touching HTTPS test script recorder as a way of capturing HTTPS scripts. So let's start with a new session. So for adding test script recorder, right click on the workbench, add non-test element and HTTPS script recorder. So there are a lot of functionalities here. For example, the most important one is the port setting. So for example, I'm now setting port number as 7070. It means my Jmeter proxy server will run at this port, and whatever browser, or say if you have configured your mobile application Wi-Fi to point to that port, that request will be captured by Jmeter. So for example, let's say 7070, right? So this is the port number. I'll say PN as the port number, right, of Jmeter. So I have started this. Let's say it is up and running. So now browser, which otherwise is running normally without any proxy with the use of Wi-Fi that you're working on, say browser. So when I go and set the port number of the browser's port number PN. So I have to put 7070 as the browser's port number in order to capture the request that has been made from this browser. So this you can do in any browser. For example, it could be IE, it could be Safari, it could be Mozilla, or it could be Chrome, right? So let's see now how we can do this. I'll clear out the design drawings now. So for example, now I have set the port number to 7070. You can add some suggested patterns that you want to execute. For example, you don't want to see the CSS, GIFs, PNGs, for example, right? So you can also add manually what else you want not to see there. So, I will explain this target controller and grouping later. So as of now, we can do with the target controller now. So target controller is something where your recordings will be stored. So you have two options. Either you use recording controller or you use a workbench test script recorder. So if I use this, all my recordings will be captured here, and I can copy paste into my test plan to make some modifications. Or else if I use this, then I have to add a recording controller. So add thread group, then right click, add logic controllers and recording controller. So now all your recordings that you have captured making use of this non-test element will be stored under this controller. So next concept is grouping. So as of now, let's go without grouping and see how it works, and then we can make use of groupings options we have here to see what difference it makes when you are using groupings. Okay, let's start the Jmeter proxy server now. So logically, the proxy server at 7070 port has been started now. Any request that is going to this port will be captured. Any request, I mean any HTTPS or HTTP request. So I've opened the browser now. Say for Mozilla, you can go to Options, Advanced, Network Settings. By default, you would have something like no proxy. So you can click on Manual Proxy Configurations, leave localhost as it is in this text box, and change the port number. It should be the same on which your proxy server is running. So I have put 7070 here. You can click on OK. And now click on this website that we are using from couple of lectures, that is newtours.demo.com. Unable to find the proxy servers. So let's open it again. newtours.demo.com. Cool. So now you can see your recording has started. You have just opened a web site and it has recorded around nine different requests or whatever it could be, just images and all. So I can log in here with my password. You can keep observing the request that comes under this black now once the login has been completed. Let's see how it goes. It would be a lot of requests that you may need or you may not need. So you can always copy and paste the request that you want to put load on and remove the rest of the requests that are not useful to you. So it's connecting to this website, say it is login now. So you have captured this login request and you can always see that it has used the parameters and whatever user ID and password you had passed, and all HTTP request header values also that is needed for this. So right now we were doing it without any grouping. So let's see how grouping works. For example, I want to put each group in a new controller, right? So let's see how I can do it now. Let's go ahead with a ticket booking. You can see Blue Sky Airlines, click on continue. It'll come to the next screen where you can put all other information you have to see how the application is working and what are all the requests that is making it to the server. So let's say it's like this airlines and click on continue. You can always see that a number of requests are getting captured here. I mean everything is captured here, and so when you see this reservation 2, it is putting it inside a different controller, and that is what we have selected. We have changed here that put each group in a new controller, right? So you will see that your requests are getting grouped according to some similarities, and they are put under different controllers. For example, let me add my phone number and information here, and let's do secure purchase. So I've done secure purchase now, and let's see what is getting captured here. So this is purchase 2, and this is also put in a simple controller, and request and header applications are under it, right? So now you can click on sign off. So otherwise these would have come separately. I will also show you again when I start again using this. For example, if you are done with this recording, you can stop the server now. Pardon me, maybe my internet connection is slow. For example, if I stop it, and let's say I use it like put each group in a new transaction controller. So let me remove all this, and let's see how recording works in this case. What is remove? Right, so I have selected now put each group in a new transaction controller. So for example, when I click on this, so when we are using this, by putting each transaction in a different transaction controller, as you can see here, and then let's start the recording, and now record again all the actions and see how many requests, how many controllers do you see. This is login. I'm expecting it to be under a different transaction controller because these are a group of requests that are used to log in into the application and is a different transaction all throughout. So it will take some time to log in into the application, by the time you can see if it is captured something. See, login, it is taking it into a different transaction, and all the actions under this login are coming under this controller, right? So that is how these groupings are used, right? For example, you have Mercury reservation. This is also under a different transaction controller. And when I will perform some actions, it will automatically get stored under the respective transaction controllers which belongs to these requests. So if you open this, you see nothing is there as of now. Maybe it is recording, that is why. Once it has hit, for example, another transaction controller, right? So my purpose of showing you guys was that, they put request under different transaction controller, assuming it to be different kind of request. For example, take a scenario in which, for example, let's open this, what we were recording. So first thing is login. Second is flight booking. Let me explain you here, maybe in a notepad. So if I say my current application, it logins, flight booking, and logout. So I want all requests under different transaction controller because these are altogether different transactions. This is transaction 1, booking ID is transaction 2, and then logout is transaction 3. So now if I want my T1 and T3 to be performed only once, because I don't want to log in and log out again, and then my T2, that is my flight booking, should be reiterated. So I can always do this using transaction controller, right? And that is what it is doing here, transaction controller. Right? Pardon my spellings. Right, so that is what it is doing here. So another example is, they may not be that useful, but just showing you for a demo purpose, what are add separators between groups. So add separators between group is, you would see a line that comes in between when a different group of requests start executing. Let's select the airlines and click on continue. It will come to the next form where you have to fill some personal information before your final itinerary is confirmed. So as of now, it's not recorded anything. Here's recorded the purchase too. So you can fill your name or any number out here. Then you can click on secure purchase, and it's connecting, taking time to. So now you can see here is that a separator is there. This separator is nothing, it is just a Jmeter already configured simple controller, but they have just put the name as this so that when we see the test plan, we see it as a separator. That is, these requests are in different group, then this is a different group, and again a new group start. So they have added a separator in between to make sure that you understand what recordings took place and what were the difference between the recordings. You can use different options as per whatever requirement you have in your project. So these, when you put for example, these are just the requests that are captured here. So if you're putting any listeners out here, so you can always see what results you get after executing all this request. Because at the end of the day, you have to put the listener to see the results. As of now, there are no kind of results because these are all the requests only without any listener here, right? So these are the concept, that is how test script recorder is used to, you can see how there that the request something are failed, it may not be able to connect to socket close. So whatever, I mean, I just want to explain you that, you can put listeners later on to see what results come when you execute this capture request. So that is all for this session. Thank you.